Hello and good morning. My name is Luke Ballard, and I'm a four-year senior here at the Williston Northampton School. I am extremely excited to have been chosen by my classmates to stand up here on this monumental day. It's amazing to see all these smiling faces, those familiar and new, parents coming from all different countries and many different states. We are proud and pumped to welcome you to our home, the Williston Northampton School. This experience still sits surreal to me, this being a dream I've had since I was a freshman, and now through these past 4 years, I've gathered the confidence to stand before you today and give my parting words to the class of 23 before we move on to whatever life holds in store for us next. Looking back to 4 years to go today, I was still a student at Belchertown High School with no intention of ever leaving and not even having a thought about a school like Williston. However, the Luke you see before you today was unfortunately not the Luke that existed all those years ago. I was not what you would call an honor roll student. I didn't really care much for school, and to be quite honest, school was more of a side hobby for me. I was a shy and reserved kid who never put myself out there and held my true self back from everybody. I didn't know who I was, but I had bits and pieces of who I thought I wanted to be and who I thought others wanted me to be. The first time I became fully aware of what I had become was when I decided to reach out to Williston and had my first interview with Mr. Dietrich. He sat me down after my tour, and after a couple of those filler questions he asked, "So who are you, and what do you like to do?" And being the kid I was, I blankly stared at him, thought about it, and said, "I play soccer, I play lacrosse because I think it looks cool, and that's about it." And he sat there for, I think, 30 seconds, waiting for me to say more, wanting me to say more, but I just stared him directly in the eyes, and that is all I said. So, as I'm sitting there, I'm like, is this really who I am? Is this all I can be as a surface level athlete? Is that all I can live up to be? And on that car ride back is when I knew I had to make a change for the better, to be better. I think I spent most of my early years acting this way simply because I wanted to fit in and be accepted. And although I wasn't truly happy with who I was happy to be accepted by a group and a friend group that I thought were my friends. 5 years ago today, I couldn't be the wildest guy I was, backed by my best friends and the Dean of Fun, Miss Davy, going up to sing "You Belong With Me" at Assembly, or participating in the all-school senior fishbowl. So when I came to Williston for my second freshman year in 2019, I was truly happy for the first time in a long time. For me, the class of 23, even though I had just met you all at Camp Beckett, playing tag in the baseball field and canoeing across the lake, you all were my first real family that I truly felt safe around. To feel like I didn't have to constrain myself was a feeling of freedom I had never been able to feel before Williston. And although I didn't show it, or at least tried not to show it, it meant the absolute most to me to be surrounded by people who cared for me and let me be me. Something I'll never forget is a photo taken at Camp Beckett. It was a small group photo. The second we stepped off the bus, I was covered in sweat, nervous, shaking, like I am right now. And it was a group photo, I'll never forget this, of Joe Easton, Jack Kasha, Owen Dietrich, Izzy Ireland, Chloe Lewis, and Will Chalfont. Although I had just met them not only probably 30 minutes ago, I felt a real sense of security. And for the first time in a long time, I had a photo of me with a real smile. It meant the most to me to be able to smile like that and finally be able to be myself, having fun doing what I like to do. And that eventually evolved into weekend events with the Wildest Cats and sending out the newest edition of Luke's Latest. And yes, not one email went out after 7:46 a.m. You're welcome. This sense of safety, being something I'd never experienced before Williston, is something I will forever be grateful for, along with many other things. I'm grateful to be welcomed so kindly every day, and grateful to be accepted in the way I was by the class of 2023. To me, this is a part of what makes Williston and the class of 23 so special. Being greeted every morning with a smile from the faculty and teachers, and to see our friends walking by the class. Whether it's Miss Motika greeting us on the schoolhouse steps, JT giving me a sassy remark at the cage, or seeing Francesco Grumo in his purple glasses, jean shorts, and neon yellow shirt with a massive smile, It's a privilege to come to school every day with a smile on our faces and to see a smile on everybody else's faces. And that's what makes us a family. These shared experiences of contentness and gratitude, the countless number of classmates, peers, and faculty who go out of our way to make their days better. And of course, the students, especially the class of 23, go out of their way. When we packed the CAC to watch varsity basketball take down Trinity Pawling in dominant fashion, leaving us no doubt we would be moving on in the NEPSAC tournament, or to watch girls hockey take on rival Loomis Chaffee on the road to an undefeated season, that was a true testament to what the class of 23 does. And we did it all during our final assessment week. And juniors, sophomores, freshmen, you have my love next week at assessment week. I'm sure you'll have a blast. Not me. Seeing the entire class at the SpongeBob musical in the winter and Elephant Man in the fall is a true testament to the commitment and unwavering support that the class of 23 brought to Williston through these past 4 years. And believe it or not, as I'm sure many of you have heard a million times, this is our first normal year of high school. Freshman year, we started off strong, but by spring break, we were told via email by Mr. Hill that the break would be extended and we would not have to report back to campus until April 13th. To any normal student, this seemed like a blessing in disguise. Who wouldn't want an extended spring break? After all, according to Mr. Canelong, in my last in-person physics class, he said, "Don't worry, it'll all pass within 2 weeks, you'll get over it, and you'll be fine." However, it clearly was not fine, and we were not back within 2 weeks, and we were thrown into an entirely new world of online schooling and isolation. Returning to campus for our sophomore year for the first time in 7 months, we were surrounded by plexiglass dividers and everyone wearing masks. Most of us not even knowing what our classmates looked like without a mask on. Because of this, we truly missed out on what the Williston experience is. Even junior year, we still tested often, and believe it or not, this time last year, we were wearing masks to ensure that the class of 2022 could graduate in person. The Williston experience is truly unlike any other. Canoe races on the pond, lip sync battles down to the wire. We are truly privileged to be able to experience these things. And as we close out our senior year, our first normal, undisrupted year, we get the chance to look back. Look back on the fact that we missed 2 graduations, entire sports seasons, Willie Gras and Willie Olympics, time well spent with friends, playoff games and plays. Because that is what made this year so special and such a success. We were so grateful to finally be able to return to normal that we took nothing for granted and made the most out of what limited time we had. While it feels like it's too soon, like we didn't get the time we deserved, it's time to move on to the next step in our lives. And as we disperse and go our separate ways, we'll all carry a piece of Williston with us, always reminding us of the time we had. But just like all good things, it must come to an end, and that end is today. Some of us have been waiting for 6 years, some of us 4, and some of us only 1. And as I have been reflecting on my time at Williston, I have been able to look at my biggest takeaway from the high school experience. Being able to surround myself with people who enable me to be me and my truest self. Teaching me how to be a role model for younger kids, the faculty kids that roam around campus, because all those years ago, when I was in middle school and elementary school, I looked up to the big kids who walked through my halls for graduation, and now that gets to be us. We were only able to experience this because of the kindness Williston showed us all those years ago when they first enrolled us. Williston believed in me in a time when I felt like nobody else did, and they took a leap of faith with me, as we did together. They didn't have to do this, but they did do it, and they saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself, and something that I felt like others around me didn't see either. Being given a second chance has entirely changed my perspective on everything, people, experiences, and much more. Being given such a large second chance, a gift out of kindness, it led me to seeing the good in people, that everybody deserves a second chance because no one is perfect, and nobody will ever be. I am forever grateful for what Williston was able to give us, and for what it will continue to give us as we move on with our lives. However, before I go, I can not only be grateful for Williston, but for a certain woman that works in the homestead. Most of you know her as Miss Ballard, whether that's from Thank a Wildcat Day, Founders Day Week, or even the squash courts, but I know her as Mom. My mother is the reason this entire journey was able to start, and it seems fitting that she gets to close it out. So thank you, Mom, for the young man you have helped me become, and for guiding me on this long and uncertain journey. And to you, the greatest senior class of all time, thank you for taking me on the ride of a lifetime. Your spirit and ability to conquer adversity is a true sign of resilience and Williston character. And with that being said, to you, the class of 2023, remember, it's always a great day to be a Wildcat. Thank you for your time, and I couldn't have wanted it any other way. Let's get out of the cameras.